a good day, and thank you for your patience, and thank you for joining us. Just share. We are that huge interruption. We are hosting Honorable Makebi Zulu. You know, when you are a one-man show, you are the technician, you are the cameraman, and you are also the one doing the broadcasting and linking to our guests. Sometimes these things, happen. But I wish to apologize. What you can do is, we are the huge audience that has just joined us in our first broadcast that we've restarted. I'm asking you to share. Share. We are hosting Makebi Zulu, his family spokesperson for the late president, Dr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu's family, and is a renowned lawyer. He's a former minister of Eastern Province. He's former minister of is former MP for Malambo. So share the broadcast. I'll let everyone go to your WhatsApp group, get this link, and show to your colleagues. We are discussing Zambia at 61. And I'll start with my reintroduction. I will start like we didn't start the earlier broadcast. I was saying Zambia was a powerhouse at 1964. It had foreign reserves. The economy was growing. It had a good population. It had surplus funds. The industry, though nascent, was doing very well. We were the third largest economy in Africa. Our GDP per capita was far better than Singapore, Malaysia, China, Japan, or South Korea. And I've taken an example of China, that China's GDP was $300, at independence. But see where China is. It has grown to be the second largest economy in the world. It was said to be, because of its huge population and the mass poverty, it was said to be the sick man of Asia. But today, it is the largest power in Far East. It has leapt from $300 of GDP per capita to $10,000. It took the US 120 years to get where China is. It took Britain 200 years for it to be there. But look at China, what it has done just in the last 25 years. It has a high-speed rail whose engineering is such a marvel. It's called a miracle, because it has the largest high-speed rail network in the entire world, and their trains fly across China over 350 kilometers per hour. The fastest rail system on earth is in China. It was a poor agricultural nation, but now it has risen to be the number one powerhouse. It's a manufacturing hub for the world. It has now grown. Its military is the second only to the US. And it did all this without war and conquest and what they call peaceful development. It's providing clean water, clean education, and the number of students is graduating, from its STEM, over 10 million a year. It has an engineering population that China is growing. Its weapons now cannot be challenged. Its supremacy only second to the United States. So look at where Zambia is. It's the sixth poorest country in the world, and we are among the 10 most unequal countries in the world. We have a small economy, 31 billion, the economy of Nairobi as a city. So where did we go right? Where did we go wrong? And I'd invited Honorable Makebi Zulu to speak to us. But every time you see Honorable Makebi Zulu, colleagues, you see the issues around the late president. So I'll invite him. Honorable Makebi Zulu, I know we did this, but let's do it afresh for our audience that we're missing at the beginning. Just where are we at with the late president 4 months on without barrier?
Thank you very much, Ambassador. And thanks for having me on your program. I had explained earlier to say that the update is as it was, with a little progress that has been made from the time that we last gave the update. And largely, this has been because of the clandestine activities that the state had been carrying out in the background, whilst we thought we were carrying out genuine talks with them. The idea was to try and build, because what had been broken down right from the beginning was trust, in that the family was not able to trust the government. That trust to be rebuilt needed the government to show that they were genuine in their approach to the discussions that were ongoing. From the time the government took the family to court, we had been engaging in discussions. We had been telling the government to say it's important that we discuss this matter, we come to a conclusion, and we agree on what necessarily has to be done as to what amounts to a dignified send-off. The definition is not necessarily that which the government thinks is the case, but the wishes of the family, the wishes of the deceased ought to be taken into account. And that is what was hoped to be achieved, and that is what is still being hoped to be achieved. But we have seen that there have been these clandestine moves, all aimed at access to the body. You may be aware that right from the start, the president did say that he was aware that the President Edgar Chagwa Lungu died even before Tarsila announced that he had died. And now you have all this propaganda machinery of the government and of the UPND coming in and saying, no, President Lungu is not dead. President Lungu was poisoned. President Lungu bought 150 vehicles in Johannesburg. He bought a house. President Lungu was a drug dealer. You have all these issues that are being propagated by the machinery that belongs to the ruling party. And the family, in most cases, has sat back and done little about that. We, on several occasions, that all things be stopped. At some point, we saw that they managed to prevail over outlets like Koswe, and they stopped for some time. And after some time again, we saw them begin again. So, meaning that at any given time, they had control over who said what they said, the insults that were propagated against the widow, the insults that were propagated against the family. All those are there for public record. And the persons that were saying this were aligned to the government, or indeed in the government, as we saw in one incident where one member was suspended. We saw all that. But at this particular point, we're saying we have appointed mediators. There's a mediator appointed by the government. There's a mediator appointed by the family. And these two are to sit down and help the family and the government come to a resolution that both will agree amounts to a dignified send-off. And I did indicate that perhaps what has been at play here is not an issue of what is in the public interest, but possibly an issue of egos. And this is very simple. In my view, it is something that can be concluded even in a day, even in a few minutes, if only people are willing to give up their pride and do what is right by the family. And that will in turn be what is right for the public of Zambia. That is what I have to say as regards that. Yeah.
You had indicated earlier that, for example, you found out that the people that were protesting had obtained a permit in the name of the Republic of Zambia, the so-called progressive forces.
Yes, the progressive forces.
Just speak briefly to that before we...
Okay. So the progressive forces is this NGO that the government of the Republic of Zambia found friendly to use here in South Africa. And the idea was to give an impression that there was a public outcry that President Edgar Chagwa Lungu be buried in Zambia. I must state that right from the start, the idea of the family was that President Edgar Chagwa Lungu should be buried in Zambia. Until after that botched agreement that was there, when the president went on the screen and said, we cannot go on mourning in perpetuity, this must come to an end, we must return to normalcy, and he said all that he said. So the family said, okay, the government seems to want to have nothing to do with this, and to go and force things in Zambia would not amount to a dignified send-off. So we will have a private one. On the day of burial, you saw how that the government swiftly moved in and said, no, it's in the public interest. We'll bring back the national mourning and all those issues that followed thereafter. But through all this, I think the family has chosen to deal with this matter in a very sober way, whereas the government chose to go in a very combative way, engage progressive forces movement, such that even when they went to court, they needed that aspect to say there's a public outcry. How do they engineer that? There was no Zambian here who was going to go and picket for and on behalf of the government because they knew exactly what was going on. So they had to get this South African movement paid for them to have a conference at Gallagher Center, where, well, at some venue, you may have seen it, where some people purporting to be representing this particular movement spoke out, talking about the desirability to bury this particular foreigner in their country, otherwise the land would be cursed. There was all that talk that was there. This very organization picketed at the Pretoria court, having gotten a permit right there in Pretoria, facilitated by the Zambian government and in the name of the Zambian government for purposes of picketing at the courts. We saw all that happen, but the family chose to be quiet about it and concentrate on what was important, what would amount to a dignified send-off. And that is the same organization that the government is using yet again. You may have noted that on the 23rd, this private investigator engaged by the government goes to the morgue, purports that he, together with the police that were accompanying this private investigator, purports that there was a report by a family member that President Chagwalungu had been poisoned. On that particular day, the family was contacted. We spoke to the people at the morgue. Was the police and the investigator were present. We said that there's no one from the family that has reported anything of that sort. We have been here the last 4 months. There hasn't been anything of that sort. And we know the circumstances. And these circumstances were made available to the government. All the documentation that related to the death of President Lungu was made available to the government. Thereafter, they refused to speak to the family and said, we are going to have a meeting with the management of the morgue. They went to the headquarters. The minutes were published, and we did indicate in those minutes who was in attendance, the role that they played, and how that the private investigator said they had been engaged by the government of the Republic of Zambia. We also indicated that we engaged the Secretary to the Cabinet as regards that particular issue. At first declined that government had no role whatsoever, and we pushed to say, okay, if government had no role whatsoever, give us something in writing to give to the morgue. So that whoever comes, we tell them, there's no one that has reported this matter. There's actually no docket of case whatsoever. That's on the 23rd, when things happened, that's the 23rd of September rather. And they said they were going to return. The time they were having the meeting with the management of the morgue, they said, this person, we have gotten reports from social media that there are allegations of him having been poisoned. Now he changed from a family member, moves to social media. At that particular time, we're not aware of any reports. On the 29th of September, we see this organization that protested at the Pretoria court come back now and hand in a report to the police to say, we suspect that this person was poisoned, and the allegations that he was poisoned, and we want to clear the name of South Africa. That is what was, but there's no complaint for and on behalf of the government of South Africa. There hasn't been any complaint whatsoever. So we see that all these moves being orchestrated by the government were intended to frustrate this particular process. We can only speculate as to what the benefit is, but it all goes down to erode the trust that the family was hoping to build in the government. So that is that. I wouldn't want us to spend so much time on this particular issue. Safe to say that we need to be humane in our approach to things now that we are commemorating our independence. We need to reflect on why we got this independence, how we ought to treat each other. what is Ubuntu in this particular context as we deal with each other in government, whether one is holding a position or is not holding a position. The rich and the poor, how we treat each other is very important. Ambassador, I would spend a whole lot of time discussing this matter, but I think
thank you.
the public
Thank you,
has
Honorable
been
Makebi Zulu.
up to speed on what's happening. Yeah.
Today we'll not dwell much because want to reflect on Zambia. But one of the key issues your political opponents, the political opponents of the PF, have accused the PF and sometimes even to you, the spokesperson, is that we are using this matter for politics. What do you say to that before we move on to the reason we are here?
Who took the matter to court? That's the issue. If the family had not been taken to court, we wouldn't be where we are. So what politics are being played? The facts leading to the impasse were known. The mistrust that was built is known. The ones that are on the wrong side are known. It has never been the family. It is not the family. It will never be the family. Let us, in the same manner that the president said, let's pray for the family, I would say, let's pray for the government, for reason to prevail over ego. And we will resolve this matter in the nick of time.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Honorable Makebi Zulu, to our dear viewers, we are apologizing once again that we had that disruption because we didn't have, on many channels, we didn't have volume. We only had volume on this channel. So please share. We had accumulated a large number of viewers and just alert them that this broadcast is live now and share and share and share. For those that wish to delve into the life of Honorable Makebi Zulu, have had an opportunity. I profiled him in my previous program called The Conversation Podcast. And you can find all his full details, where he was born, where he went to school, how he became a lawyer that he is, and his illustrious career. Today, we are reflecting on Zambia, at 61. Honorable Makebi Zulu, what are your reflections on this momentous day today?
Waking up today, I really thought, where are we and where are we coming from? And we should all be students of history to realize where we come from as a country before the Zambia that we know today became Zambia, what exactly had happened. And we see the thread in all this is a fight for equality, a fight to enjoy freedoms, for the fight for equal opportunities. That has been a thread that has been running through. Equal opportunities because in the colonial times, Africans, or indeed Rhodesians at that particular time, did not have equal access as the Europeans did have at that particular time. They were treated as second-class citizens, and there were orders in council that were being promulgated for purposes of subjugating the natives or the local population, until you saw 1964, where there was a negotiated settlement for us to gain our independence. And we chose the 24th of October as a day when we would commemorate our independence. Not necessarily because it's a day that Zambia got its independence. It was picked because it's also the United Nations Day. If you read your history, you realize that. And it's a United Nations Day, it's the Independence Day for Zambia, and it's a day that we are supposed to be looking to what did the people that died die for. If we forget what they died for, we may render their deaths to have been in vain. We saw President Kenneth Kaunda, Nalumino Mundia, we saw Mainza Chona, we saw that formed part of the first government. We saw Ruben Kamanga, Simon Mwansaka Pwepwe, Bodwin, not necessarily Bodwin, but Harry Mwanga Nkumbula. The Bodwin was the brother. I should learn from history. And then we saw all these people that came and managed to get us our independence. And thereafter they started fighting for improvement of human resource. At independence or a little thereafter, we saw that there were only about graduates in Zambia. So we needed to work on our schools. We needed to work on employment creation. We needed to build capacity to be able to determine our own course. We needed to build institutions of governance that were proper. That's the time you saw that we had to bring in expatriates from different places to run our institutions of governance. You saw how that the judiciary was replete or was full of foreigners that are coming in for purposes of setting up their structures. We saw how that we had Secretary to Cabinet being a foreigner, or indeed people running big institutions of governance coming from other countries to help us build that human resource. And of course, that is what went on during that particular period. And you may have known that in this particular period, it was a multi-party democracy from independence until about 1972, when it was decided that Zambia should be a one-party state. A student of history would wonder, why was it decided that it should be a one-party state? Always the reason is seemingly attractive. At that particular time, you may have noted that there were these tribal issues that were going on within government, political parties that only reflected a particular region, or the membership belonged to a particular region. We had regional parties that somewhat may have made it difficult for purposes of governing. And it was decided to say, listen, we have just gained our independence. We need to ensure that we concentrate on developing our country, and we concentrate on building one Zambia, one nation, that particular slogan, where people would be sent, if you come from Eastern Province, you'll be sent to go and work in Western Province. As a single person working in Province, you'll possibly fall in love, marry someone from Western Province, have children, and dilute this issue of identities only relating to particular regions. And you had that particular movement. Even as members of parliament, you saw how that you did not necessarily need to go to your village to become an MP there. A person from a different place could become an MP in a different location altogether. And that was meant for cohesion. But upon passing legislation in 1972 for a one-party state to only allow for one party, in 1973, they made sure that that went into the constitution. And UNIP then was being recognized as the government. Hence that saying to say the government, the party and its government, big for an acronym. And that is what had happening at that particular time. But it appears that during that particular period, we may have gotten back to issues of power, corrupting certain leaders that may have been there, or indeed using power for control and not for service. And people said, no, we can't have this particular incident going on. We can't have a government that is not subjected to checks. And people started crying for multipartism to come back, because the atrocities that were being carried out then, there was no one to put a check on the government. There was no one to say what you're doing is wrong. Those that did so sometimes would be punished for doing so. We had laws being promulgated to stop people from saying certain things that were seemingly against the president, against the government, because that was going to keep the cohesion. But then, come 1990, we saw the law being changed to allow for multipartism once more. And once multipartism came through, we're moving from being a socialist state to moving to a democracy. And now we saw the democratization of Zambia, and that is when the good President Chiluba, took over, and you had the privilege to serve in his office as his press aide. You had that opportunity, and that is where we began to grow our democracy. That is where you saw parties coming up. You saw Zadeco coming up. You saw FTD thereafter being formed. You saw a couple of other parties being formed and participating in the democratic space. Now we moved from a place where our concentration now became, okay, what do we do as regards the rights of the people that were being infringed previously from the colonial era through to the one-party state, and now coming to a multi-party democracy. Even when we tried to change our system, we never touched the Bill of Rights. We never touched the Bill of Rights because of the requirements that were needed to be able to amend it. Because at that particular time, obviously, we have the rights that are currently reflecting in our Constitution not having been changed over time. And there's still that cry to say, how do we democratize? So that was the main part as regards the first part of the 1990s, introduction of multipartyism. And in all these things, we commemorated our independence days. And in commemorating our independence days, obviously the themes have been differing depending on the aspirations of the people at that particular time. And all those were aimed at national building. And now we are at 61 and we ask ourselves, what progress have we made over time? We had been making steady progress, as it were, but it appears as though at this particular time we have to relook at what exactly have we gotten ourselves into. Because the very laws that were never changed, that were used to subjugate the population, or indeed the Zambians, are the very laws that have been resurrected now. Perhaps it's because we may have slept. There's this seditious practices, which at some point was a matter that was almost always in court, that was pre-independence, and during the time we had that one-party state, we had this offense of seditious practices coming up. And the next time we have heard of it is now, during this particular 4 years of the UPND. That has been resurrected, used to stifle dissent, used to ensure that every person keeps quiet, as if that was not enough. We have the so-called cyber laws, which gives the state unfettered powers to even be able to snoop in our phones, to snoop into everything that we have. Even an attempt to ensure that even the very CCTV that you put at your house has to be regulated by the state. What you put for your own security has to be regulated by the state, as if to say they also want to have access to what you see. Now, there's all this thinning of the rights of individuals that has been going on. And now we're saying, okay, how did we get here? Why is it that every time there's a change of government, their aspirations of those that are in government are to work to fortify their stay in government? Is that what we want going forward? Why are we using power for control and not service? Those are discussions and conversations that are on the table right now. And any noble person, any person that is going to have the interest of the nation at hand will know that power should be used for service. The reason we have a constitution that gives various institutions of governance power to do what they do is for purposes of allowing them to serve the people of Zambia. But alas, this time around, that is not the case. We have gone back to a period of nation. In a very, very long period. As a matter of fact, this is the only time where, the only period within 4 years where you've seen the most judges being removed from their offices. This is a time when you've seen the most MPs lose their seats by reason of matters in court. This is a time when you've seen the most politicians going to court, being taken to court, being dragged to court. And most of them is simply for what they said. There's a saying, a quote from Abraham Lincoln, who said that, "I may not agree with what you say, but I will protect to the death your right to say it." We ought to be living that. We ought to protect the right of people to have a thought, and to be able to express that thought. Now we're being stopped from thinking. Not only thinking, we're also being stopped from expressing that thought that you may have by this offense called seditious practices, or indeed using the cyber laws to gag people, using the cyber laws to infringe on people's privacy. That is what is going on now. And that is the democracy that we have to fight. What have we seen? We've also seen institutions of governance being compromised. Now, when we talk about institutions of governance, you cannot talk about improvement of the economy if your institutions of governance are weak. You can't talk about investment in a country if your institutions of governance are weak. Now, what do I mean by this? If I'm going to invest in Zambia, I must know that their dispute resolution system is something that I can rely on, meaning that I'll look at the judiciary. How is the judiciary run? Is there interference in the manner the judiciary is conducting their matters? Are they independent? Can I trust them that if I have a dispute with another person, an investor, or indeed I have a dispute with the government, the result that I'll get from court will be fair, just, and legal? For that question, any Zambian, any person who lives in Zambia would give you an answer as to what exactly is happening right now. The judiciary is at its worst in terms of upholding the rights of people, in terms of upholding the law as it relates to the citizens. In fact, a matter between the state and a private citizen, you are likely to get a result, notwithstanding what the law is, that will favor the government. You have a judiciary that 4 times rules in one way and the 5th time changes its mind. Should we have an investor come in and say, the decision that these guys have made looks as if it will protect me, so I can make my investment in here, in this country. But when they know that, in fact, this decision can be changed at any time on the basis that, well, we made a mistake, or indeed, the ones that made a mistake, that ought not to be the case. There has to be certainty in the manner that our judiciary deals with issues. Only then can we talk about having investment, bringing investment, because every investor wants their investment protected. And we also want the legislature, or a legislative structure that that is not necessarily part of the executive, that is independent, that furthers the interests of the people and not the governing authority. But we have sycophants for presiding officers only pursuing the interest of the executive, and that is eroding the trust and confidence that people have in the National Assembly. You have members of parliament who are being gagged, every now and then being gagged from expressing themselves. That place called the place where people ought to speak and ought to speak freely. But our members of parliament are not free at all. Now, if a member of parliament is not going to be free, in the precincts where they say you should be free, and you have a member of parliament being sentenced to a jail term for something they said within the precincts of parliament, when the law protects free speech, especially within the precincts of parliament, because people have to be given the right, can only enact laws based on what people say should be the law, based on what people say they want to be governed. And that is why the Constitution says all that power which is not given to any institution belongs to the people, and they can exercise it themselves or through their members of parliament or their representatives. That is ordinarily what we'd expect. But what is the state of our National Assembly? You see a National Assembly that defies court orders. We have Bill 7 at hand, where the Speaker even goes to render a ruling defying the judgment of the court and only bows down to pressure. And now, for the very first time, we are seeing the government trying to change the orders. See, every time you withdraw a bill from the National Assembly, you can't bring it back within a period of 6 months. You can't. you can't bring it back.
Yeah.
But in this particular
Thank
case,
you. Let me
there are attempts.
let me just intervene there. We are going to elections just in the next few months. Nominations, I think, is in May, 3 months before elections. But the state of the Electoral Commission of Zambia is of worry. Its composition, both at management and at commission level, is of key worry. And then the president has started a process of a technical committee to amend the constitution. He has appointed a technical committee without legislative support, and it looks like it's outside the law because they don't seem to have used Inquiries Act. How will this impact on the election? Because if you have the technical committee, 25-member committee appointed, and that they should come up with a draft constitution, they should gather all their views and come up with a draft constitution in the next 1 month. Probably that's the fastest, speediest constitutional process I've ever seen. We've looked at all the constitutional review commissions, from the Moncton Commission in 1962 to the 1973 Mainza Chona one, to the 1990 Professor Mvunga's constitution, to the Mwanakatwe constitution, CRC, to William Mwamba. We've never seen this speed as this technical committee has been done. You were privileged to, under the Patriotic Front, there was an issue of Bill 10, which received mass condemnation, like Bill 7 has received mass condemnation. But there you seem to have done some basic things, such as providing for a legal framework and a credible consultative process. This one doesn't have anything. Citizens are despairing. What shall we do? Clearly, the president is on a path to amend the constitution, whatever we say. Maybe speak to the issues of the technical committee and its legality or legitimacy, and the 1 month they've been given to come up with a draft constitution, and they've been restricted to Bill 7.
See, the whole problem starts with this issue of exercising a power that an organization does not have. The Electoral Commission of Zambia has no power whatsoever to suggest or to set up a commission from within itself for purposes of seeing how they can amend the law that regulates them. They have no power to do that. It started from there. They went on a frolic of their own, looking at how best they can change the regulations that regulate how they conduct themselves. That's where it started from. And they submit this to the president. Now, when they submit this to the president, everything you see circles around the election. Bill 7 itself circles around the election. And what is the essence of dealing with an election? Previously, this is a government that said, we will not change this constitution. These provisions in Bill 10, as we argued, they said everything is already provided for. We can go ahead and deal with this issue. There was an issue of nominations. One can challenge a nomination after filing in, or indeed challenge an election after the vote. So we had argued in Bill 10 to say, let's restrict this issue of petitioning to one position. And that is a petition after the voting has taken place, because the election process is a continuous process. So in an interview with Costa, the current president refused and said everything is okay, everything's fine. After the introduction of Bill 7, he went back, swallowed his vomit and said, it is actually not okay, it should be amended. Now, this is something that was already said no to by the Zambian people, using a system that had been properly legislated. We had the forum that was set up by the National Assembly with legal backing set for it. Now we have this Bill 7 brought to the National Assembly. There's a public outcry. This is not a law that we want. It is withdrawn. The court renders a ruling to say, do not proceed with Bill 7 because it was not consultative and thus it is unconstitutional. It breaches the Constitution. Now they bring this document, which the court has already declared unconstitutional, they reintroduced it in the National Assembly. There was yet another public outcry. There was a move to cite for contempt those that were proceeding to introduce it in the National Assembly because there was a standing order or a standing judgment of the court saying this is unconstitutional. Now, no matter how much you turn the pages of a document that has been declared unconstitutional, that doesn't make it any more constitutional. Again, there was a public outcry, and now the president has decided to say, okay, we withdraw it, it's withdrawn, and in no time, he appoints a commission, or this committee that has now been appointed. Now, you must know that when you appoint a committee, you have to do it pursuant to a law. Now, he purports to create this committee in accordance with the Constitution as an executive appointment. Whereas noted that all committees have been appointed pursuant to the Inquiries Act, and their terms of reference have been promulgated and provided for, and to be carried out in accordance with the Inquiries Act. Now, he appoints this particular committee pursuant to the Constitution, and I would argue that that does not fall within what can be defined as executive appointments. This committee has been appointed to carry out particular tasks. And if you're going to frame terms of reference, obviously in carrying out those, they would need to be guided by some law. There's no law that has been promulgated that supports this particular committee. There's no law that is guiding them on how to do their work. Even the terms of reference being made available to them, there's no law that is going to guide them as to how, in a lawful manner, they can collect views from the people. Now, with that said, you will also note that a person who sets the terms of reference determines what goes in the Constitution. And you saw how that Laura Miti recently cried as to how they have been gagged. They have been only asked to go to the extent that the questions are asking. So in all this, the person who sets the terms of reference determines what should go in the Constitution. And in this particular case, it is the president who's determining what should go in the Constitution. Now, the Constitution is a document that belongs to the people. You can't say, let's take this to the people, but what I want to go in this Constitution is this, and that. It should have been prudent, or it could have been prudent, of the president to have people submit at will what they would want to see in the Constitution, because the Constitution is supposed to be a living document. You can change it from time to time to meet the aspirations of the people at that particular time. It is not a document to meet the aspirations of those that are governing. It is a document that the people agree to say, we want to be ruled in this manner. And for purposes of achieving these particular goals that we aspire to, these institutions will have this kind of powers. The president will have this kind of power. National Assembly will have this kind of power. The judiciary will have this kind of power. We shall have institutions such as the Drug Enforcement Commission, the police, and this is how these will be regulated. This is how they will relate, carry out their business, and this is how they will relate in relation to other organizations. All that goes in the Constitution. You can't say that, tell me how, not whether or not you should be a lid on a bottle, but how tight I should. You've already made a decision that there should be a lid in the first place. And that is what is going on right now. And that is where we're saying, listen, we should not regress. We should be progressing in the manner that we're governing ourselves. Because these institutions of governance that we're trying to create that only serve purpose, the aspirations of individuals are not supposed to do so. They are supposed to serve the interests of the people. And it is these institutions of governance that guarantee whether a country is going to prosper. They will determine whether a country is going to prosper or not. They will determine whether a country is going to be attractive for investment or not. They'll determine whether people are going to be free enough to express themselves to the extent of bringing ideas that may bring development to the country. So for as long as we have institutions of governance that only serve the whims and caprices of individuals, we will not progress. You can't have investigative institutions where you determine who should be arrested and who shouldn't. You can't go to a press briefing and say, that person did something, therefore go ahead and arrest that person. You don't have those particular powers. But the moment you say it, and as president, those institutions that are there and ought to be independent moving, there's no place that that person may have justice, especially when the judiciary is compromised, the very police are compromised, the Anti-Corruption Commission is compromised, the Drug Enforcement Commission is compromised. What is there to do? Who protects the citizens when the very person who's supposed to protect them is the one that sets loose the dogs to bite them, even in matters that have clearly been dealt with? That is not the Zambia that we should be celebrating at 61. We ought to be progressing in the manner that we're running the institutions of governance. The opportunities that we are giving to the Zambian people, and by the way, I said the Zambian people, not necessarily people belonging to particular regions, because the moment you begin to concentrate on regions for purposes of running particular institutions, then you lose the very essence of one Zambia, one nation, the very bedrock on which the nation was built. You lose it. And when you lose the essence, the very essence of one Zambia, one nation, you can't develop. No matter what investment you think you're brokering, it can't, because it is seen to only be dealt with by a few. It is seen to be only controlled by a few whose interest is regionalized. And we're supposed to be looking at the interest of the whole country. That is what we ought to be looking at. Once we set our institutions of governance in order, then we can have discussions as regards investments, discussions as regards infrastructure development, because then you will not be selecting where you're going to put that infrastructure. Everything will have been in order, and you'll be looking at areas of need, not areas of origin for purposes of developing. So we need to move and begin to deal with areas of need, not areas of origin, as a move or as a drive towards development. That has seems to be the problem that we have to deal with this time around. That seems to be the new bondage or the new colonization that we have to deal with right now. How do we free the institutions of governance for purposes of distributing the wealth of the country evenly and equitably, or indeed equally where need be? That is where we are. And that is the independence that every Zambian is calling for. How do we have freedom to express ourselves, either in thought, in acts that are going to benefit the country? And you can't do that by stifling thought or indeed speech. You can't do that by regionalizing development to only favor particular areas. You can't do that by only availing opportunities to a section of society or those that seem to pander to what we want. We can't do that, and we shouldn't be headed in that direction. So the first thing that we ought to do right now is make the institutions of governance independent from the whims and caprices of individuals. Then we can talk about real development going down to the people.
Wonderful. Dear viewers, I'm glad that most of the people have since joined the broadcast we are hosting. Honorable Makebi Zulu is former MP for Malambo in Eastern Province. He was provincial minister in Eastern Province. He's known, very well known as a renowned Lusaka lawyer, and is a family spokesperson for the late president. But today, we got him to reflect on Zambia at 61. Where are we at? What have we done wrong? What could we have done better? How do we forge a future ahead of, from now? I'll be inviting you callers. We started very late, so we'll open the broadcast quite for you to call in. We'll invite you to begin making your calls and asking Honorable Makebi Zulu some questions. But I'll urge that you are brief. there might be more people trying to reach us. So let's give as many views as possible. He's given a reflection on the late president. Negotiated appointments were done. The family chose Archbishop Alec Banda, and the government of the Republic of Zambia chose Dr. Joshua H.K. Banda, leader of the church at Pentecostal Assemblies of God in Zambia and in Africa, and is a senior pastor at North Mid Assemblies of God. So the two Bandas are supposed to begin the negotiations for the repatriation of the remains and a decent burial for the late president. We hope that those will go very well. But the reason we got Honorable Makebi Zulu is to reflect on the state of our country. There's a voter registration exercise going on. There are all these things happening. So I'll be inviting you to make your calls, but be brief so that we can allow as many people as possible to do so.
Registration across the country from the 13th of October to the 11th of November 2025. If you are 18 years and above, a Zambian citizen and in possession of a Green National Registration Card, NRC, you qualify to register. If you registered in 2020 or during continuous registration of voters and you still have your voter's card, you don't need to register again. During this registration period, ECZ will be providing the following services: new registrations, replacement of lost, destroyed or defaced voters' cards, transfers from one polling station to another, claims for omission on the register of voters, corrections of clerical errors and removal of deceased voters. Registration centers will be open throughout the week from 8 hours to 17 hours. Register now. It's your right. It's your choice. This message is brought to you by the Electoral Commission of Zambia.
Okay, the phone lines are on. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from, and be brief.
Okay, good evening.
Thank you.
Hello?
We can hear you. Make your contributions quickly.
Okay, my name is Peter Kashala, calling from Zambia.
Yes,
My
Peter, make your
question
contribution.
is to Honorable Makebi. What difference do you have with the Zambian people? Because we've got a shortage of leadership here in Zambia. What qualities do you have as a president if we say we want you as a president here?
Okay, thank you very much, Kashala. Kashala says, what qualities do you bring to the table? There seems to be a shortage of leaders. Hello, caller, please tell us your name.
Ambassador.
Good evening.
Good evening, Ambassador.
Good evening.
Honorable Makebi Zulu, good evening.
He can hear you, thank you.
Okay, you are speaking to Madam Ngoma, calling you here in Lusaka. Honorable Makebi Zulu, my take is you have to contest as a presidential candidate. You are the only person who is going to remove us from this miserable we are facing right now as Zambians. As you are articulating issues, we are happy and very attentively listening to what you are talking about. You have to stand. You have to contest. We rely on you, Makebi Zulu. Me, I said as Madam Ngoma, you have to stand. I thank you, Honorable. I thank you, Ambassador Mwamba. Let Makebi Zulu contest the presidential race. As we depend on him, is our own Moses who is going to remove us on this shame. Thank you and good night.
Thank you. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Good evening, Ambassador.
Oh, just hold on. Let me. You seem to be connected to my. Just a minute.
Good evening, Ambassador. Good evening.
Just a minute, please. Just a minute. Okay, caller. Now you can say. Hello, caller. Hello, caller.
Hello, Ambassador. Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay, this is Mlenga calling from This is Mlenga calling from England.
Yes, Mlenga, make your contributions quickly.
We have just seen flyers and posters flying of Honorable Makebi Zulu contesting as president on the PF ticket and subsequent on the PF ticket on the coming elections. We just want to get quiet on that one. Well, that's what I've been waiting to see, but I haven't heard him talk about it. Is he going for it? Because I think a lot of people are really looking forward to him declaring that he's going for that position. Thank you so much.
Yes, caller, hello. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Yes, I'm calling from Peta, UK.
Yes. Introduce yourself and make your
Yes,
contributions.
I'd like to remain anonymous right for now.
Okay, yes, Anonymous, make your contributions.
Yes, first of all, good evening, President Makebi.
Yeah, he can hear you.
Yes, my question here is because we've been hearing the questioning.
He got cut. I hope he can come back. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Hello, good evening, Ambassador Mwamba.
Good evening.
Good evening, Honorable Makebi. This is essential. Just a quick one. You ably articulated the issues to do with the technical committee, which has been put in place. And in fact, that this technical committee is illegal, as it was supposed to be in sync with the Inquiries Act, Article 41, and that there was need for statutory instruments and ensuring that the terms of reference were clear and that actually they operate within the law. Even the emoluments were supposed to be in sync with the Section 18 of the Inquiries Act. However, this government under UPND is determined to go ahead with this particular activity. In this instance, what is the recourse arising to the fact that the committee itself is illegal, and the terms of reference therein should be item 3 is exactly the items which are in Bill 7. So since they have decided to go ahead, what recourse remains for the Zambians to ensure that actually this particular process is halted through the court of law? Thank you.
Thank you very much. He's asking about the legality. No law has provided for the and even the budget. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Hello, good evening. Good evening, Ambassador, and good evening, Honorable Makebi Zulu.
Good evening.
Yeah, speaking to the Falcon.
Falcon, make
yes,
your contributions.
Thank you. Yeah, my question is, we're told to say this technical committee was instituted to go and consult the people. Okay, and then in the terms of reference, we've seen where they've been directed to say, just concentrate on Bill 7. Now, what are they consulting us for when they've already have what they want? Because it seems like they're just doing a formality here. There's nothing that would be consulted. And I can assure you we are getting back to the same content of Bill 7.
Thank you, thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Yes, this is again from Petauke. I would like to remain anonymous.
Yeah.
Yes, my question to President Makebi here is that next year when you're elected, what are your plans, firstly, to sort out the load shedding? Can we have an answer on that one first? Secondly, on the
load shedding?
issue of cyber
Okay.
law, will you repeal it? Load shedding and the issue of cyber law, will you repeal it?
Okay, thank you very much. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Hello, Honorable.
Yes, make your contributions quickly.
Yeah, my question is to President Makebi Zulu. If he wants to stand and with the impasse that is going on, when do we expect to see him in the country and so that he can start the campaign full throttle? Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Yeah, Ambassador, good evening. Good evening, Honorable Makebi Zulu. I think Zico so far is on the mess. I'll try to be brief as much as I can, but I feel that Makebi and your team should move ahead and unite the country for betterment of this country. What Wamdala Church is doing is he has already positioned himself not wanting to leave the country or to give power once he loses an election. What he wants to do, if you have seen, he has already started preparing his son to take over from him. He does not even trust not even a single person among his ministers. He can only hand over the torch to his son. So therefore, we have to be very, very careful with this man, extremely careful. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Thank you, Ambassador Mwamba. My name is Nyangwe Dani. Thank you for having Makebi Zulu on your program. My contribution today, I know a lot of people are waiting, is Makebi Zulu. As a person that we've come to know you, take up the challenge. The country needs you. But as you take up this challenge, we want you to work it out in a family way. Bring the family together. We don't want any division. You're a man that has stood with the family. Not only have you done that, but you have shown the Zambian people you're a man of integrity. I have said it and I'll say it. If you want to see a good leader, don't see what they are doing in the society, but check from their own homes. Makebi Zulu, we are behind you, and we want you to carry the legacy of our late president, even of that party of PF. Yes, many people say we've got so many political candidates who want to aspire to be president. And for me, I say this is good for Zambia because it shows that Zambians are looking for a proper leader. Let's not be discouraged. Thank you and God bless you. Thank you, Ambassador Mwamba.
Thank you very much. Linda Banks, an international journalist based in the United Kingdom, has written, Honorable Makebi Zulu, thank you for standing firm on the ECL matter and on behalf of the family, and by resisting government pressure to act outside the wishes of the family. My question to you is, should President Hakainde Hichilema choose to excuse himself from the funeral, will the family permit the former president to be laid to rest with full state honors in his home country prior to the 2026 general elections? That's Linda Kasonde, Linda Banks, an international journalist based in the United Kingdom. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Yes, this is Unknown Mercy.
Yes, Unknown Mercy.
Just a new. Honorable, thank you so much, Honorable Makebi Zulu, for coming in to stand as a president. Otherwise, my question is, if PF didn't adopt you, are you late to stand in or to support a person who is going to stand as a president? And then, are you also ready to face the challenges like the way it is happening right now, the way they are blocking the constitution, like the constitution? Are you ready to stand for the people of Zambia and defend the constitution? Are you also not going to change like kind of like more rhetoric, palasti fintu vya chinja palasti twatambo kumona ifitule mone fintu na taparofu balerande fintu abantu baleyofwa tabaleranda pifilifyonse. Are you ready as a president to defend the people of Zambia, not to be rhetoric like ifitule mona this time fintu abantu balechula, the president is quiet? Are you ready?
Thank you very much. Thank you. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Good evening, Mwamba. Good evening, Makebi. This question actually goes to you, on Ambassador Mwamba. Surprising, Mwamba, you're always updated with the current affairs. And from the prologue, we can tell that majority people are very excited to hear you asking Makebi whether what we are reading in the news is actually correct in social media. How come you have not asked him whether he is running for office next year?
Thank you very much.
It would be nice to hear from you as well. Thank you very much.
She says, how come I haven't asked you that question yet? I'm a very updated person. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Good evening, Emmanuel Mwamba. This is Angela Mbale, known as Mama T.
Mama T, make your contributions.
Yes. First of all, I want to say hi to our incoming president, Mr. Makebi Zulu. I don't know if he has declared whether he's standing or not, but I'm begging him, I'm asking him if he can stand. Because right now, Zambia is not the Zambia that we knew. This is a different Zambia. I just want to make a contribution on the things that he talked about. Things like they are using power to control people. The reasons are very simple. They are doing that because all the promises that they made, they have failed to fulfill those promises. So now what they are doing is to put fear in people and to bring this cyber law, seditious, cases on our people. We have a lot of our people in jail there. But there are people who have committed the same offenses, but they are outside there, free. Why? Because they belong to them. And what kind of a Zambia is this? We saw yesterday where an overnight prayer was cancelled. And today we hear the president saying that he never directed anyone to cancel those prayers. The prayers which has been taking place for quite a long time with our Apostle Sunday Sinyangwe. And yesterday it was cancelled. So as Zambians, how do we interpret that? Because we understand there's that grudge between our president and Sunday Sinyangwe. So saying that he never directed the police to do that, we don't believe that because we've been told a lot of lies. And there are a lot of things that have been happening in Zambia. A lot of things that people are scared to talk about. Because
Thank you, my dear sister. Thank you. I've got so many people waiting, my dear sister. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Okay, you are speaking to Falcon, calling you from Zambia.
Falcon,
one
yes.
question that I want the Honorable Makebi Zulu to answer is, people who are supporting that scared, they're saying he'll never come back to Zambia because he will be arrested. So my question is, in his execution as the family spokesperson, has he breached any Zambian and implicate him? Thank you.
Hello, caller. Please tell us your name. I need to close this part of questions so that we can allow Honorable Makebi Zulu to answer, but quickly make your contributions.
Good evening, Ambassador. This is Munkonge.
Munkonge, make your contributions.
Yes, just want to ask the State Council, Makebi Zulu, since he has been in the very tough situation, he has been in the tough situation for so long, and he knows the type of the government, and the government, they knew that he knows.
Munkonge, London wino mulanda wino muchivemba, London wino muchivemba endesheni.
Makebi Zulu, funa chalandira na chafo omutonga na mumurozi ya mfako wa Makebi Zulu. Mwalimu n'olufyengo ulo wa government bakwata ku bantu mwakukora na bena sana balo balishibwa kwe bati mwali beshiba mano ya bufuntungu eyo bakwata ba government. So nomba pali ino nshita bushe ni system nshimwala wo mfya pa kwe bati tamuponene mumwe matraps yabo ayabufuntungu pantunga balifo kuchite chintu barabumvya sana olufyengo.
Thank you.
Then number 2, epo mwaliye nkambi kumafunde ya chalo. Mwala chita kushani advise abena Zambia epo ba government baleto bamafunde lero tabalesa kamana tina abato bamafunde. Icho abena Zambia tabayishi bamafunde so tabale ishiba ba government ngana abato bamafunde. Ushoni nshira nshimwala chiteya kwafa kwawe karachalo pakwe bati mwendere pamo. Pantoro bato befundi abantu bena abale chimona fyo ko bachiri bwino. Oro last advice. Since mulesa mukuturubula pali ino nshita. Kuba ntu abale nshita introduce pama platform. Mure bapera kwa guidance. Ilo mwalande fintu na vero bafuire balanda. Tabafuire balo mirandirako. Ilo tamula alanda because apanomba ni serious business mwaingiramo. Mwalishi baba abantu pama platform opo bayisura. So tatuleforation aliyenu byaonaika apa burumulandu pantu nibakanye kanye mukona ora mashina. So ama pages yale chita promote imwe mutu mwasta ko advise belala landa fe iyo tamula landa.
Okay, thank you. I think Mwamfuika. Honorable Makebi Zulu, just quickly answer all those and I get a second set of questions. Please, let's start with all those questions. There's someone who said, Emmanuel, you are very informed. Someone calling from London. And how come you didn't ask Honorable Makebi Zulu if he's standing? Well, I brought him here to reflect on the Zambia's 61st independence anniversary. And I'm yet to see his official statement, whether he's standing, but he can use this opportunity to discuss this matter.
Very interesting questions indeed. And I think I will approach them in no particular order of importance, as it were, but perhaps the issues that relate to the role that I'm playing here in South Africa, I'd like to deal with those, get them out of the way, then deal with the matters that have arisen. Linda Banks asks a very important question, and that is, should HH recuse himself from this process? Would the family be willing to bury in Zambia? That has been the position. If today the president said, I will not be in attendance, I will hand over to the vice president and we will give him his full honors. And tomorrow, we start off to come to Zambia. It is that simple. It is that simple. And that's why we're saying, let us pray for the government so that reason prevails over self or indeed over ego. To indeed respect the wishes of the family and do away with this whole thing. Because just this niggling issue is the one that has led to all this propaganda, all this false news that has been propagated against the family. And it ought not to be that way. We have to respect the widow. We have to respect the family. And there's a question that was asked by Falcon that there are threats that I will be arrested if I returned to Zambia. There is no offense that has been committed either by myself or any member of the family that is worth any person being arrested for. As a matter of fact, even assuming that there was, it is only prudent to go back home and face those challenges that are there. And no one is afraid to face challenges. If we have breached the law, let us deal with the law as it is. No one is afraid. But it is this thing that we keep talking about to say, let's stick to truth. And for our purposes, as persons that are here in South Africa, seeking only to have a dignified burial for ECL, we will protect that wish, even if it takes any one of us going to prison, even if it takes me going to prison as spokesperson for wanting to honor the wishes of ECL or the family, we'll gladly do so if it amounts to an offense. But I can guarantee you that no offense has been committed. Zambia is our home. We are coming back home. Whatever the plans may be, we are still coming home to face things for what they are. Because we know that we are protected by the law. Even if institutions of governance may not want to rely on the law, we will still come and know that we're protected by the law. And, well, if they do anything wrong, Zambians will judge for themselves. They'll be able to judge. But know that we're not afraid to come home, and we are not coming home. We are not staying away from home. We are not afraid of anything that may be planned against us. It is not, and that is exactly what we're saying. We have to assert our freedom. If it can't be given to us, we'll get it by whatever means necessary. Of course, within the legal limits that we have to. So Falcon, thanks for your concern, but we are good. Falcon, you also asked a question that related to the technical committee as being a formality, and that was the lamentations of Laura Miti. You can't rubber stamp, have them as a rubber stamp. As a matter of fact, true professionals on that committee should be able to say, I can't do this, because you are only asking me to rubber stamp and endorse what exactly you want. And to push for a thing that has already been declared unconstitutional in a manner that is also illegal is in itself misbehavior, for lack of a better term. It's being mischievous, to say the least. Brother Sencho Banda asked the question and provided an answer to say, what recourse do Zambians want to ensure that this is halted in the court of law? That is a recourse that the Zambians have, to halt this process by way of going to the Constitutional Court. If we have gotten to a stage where we feel we have lost trust in our institutions and we think we won't get the results that we want, we have yet another opportunity in August, in a very short space of time, to be able to speak and speak loudly as to what we want. If we want a government that is only going to push its interests, or we want a government that is going to push the interests of the people, we'll have that decision to make. We are the final arbiters in all this, and that is why the power that is not allocated to anyone in the Constitution is reserved for us, the people. Anonymous asked a very important question to deal with load shedding and the repeal of cyber law. We noticed that when the current president was in the opposition, the cyber law that was there then, that was mostly targeted at cyberbullying, and came as a result of the lady who marched because she felt she was being cyberbullied and got a call from President Edgar Chagwa. He took a stand and said, we are going to stop cyberbullying. But now there was a promise to say we'll get rid of it because it was perceived to be gagging people from expressing themselves on social media. And what has happened now? The president failed to answer a question that related to cyber law when he was being asked by that international journalist. And he said, well, these are necessary. Necessary for what? When the laws have only been used to stifle dissent. You don't necessarily have to have people agree with you for you to be able to serve them. You can't have everyone agreeing with you. People will disagree with you. And in the manner that they disagree with you, they may choose an avenue of expressing themselves. And they'll express themselves in a way that they think is most fortunate. And if I were President Hakainde Hichilema, I would allow people to express themselves and express themselves freely in the manner that they wish to. Other countries have those laws. And those that are insulted by their citizens don't die from insults. Insults have never killed anyone. But it is a way of judging the character of the person. A society will judge the character of the person differently if they insult. But it is not for us to be able to criminalize dissent because this person said something that I disagree with, therefore they should go to jail, especially that I'm in a position of power. Power is intended to serve and not to control. There was another question that was by Madam Ngoma. Well, this was a statement saying you must contest as a presidential candidate. Then Mulenga from England says, is he going to stand for the presidency? And of course, we've got Stakashala asking to say, what qualities do you have? We have a shortage of leaders in Zambia. Okay, I'll try and deal with this as one. There's no shortage of leaders in Zambia. What has been is a proliferation of bad leaders. Not just a proliferation of bad leaders. The politics that we have been experiencing in Zambia have not attracted persons that have qualities that are to lead, because we say politics is a dirty game. Politics is not a dirty game. It's just dirty people come to politics. And when dirty people come to politics, it will take clean people coming to politics to clean it up. So if you are of good qualities, take the stand. Take the stand, come to politics. There are those of you that say, Christian, I'm a Christian, I can't be in politics. You're a Christian, therefore you should be in politics, because politics deserves people that are decent. You say, I'm of this religion, politics is a dirty game. You have a responsibility to save your country and go and take up that particular position and save the country. And Mr. Kashala in Bemba say, so you are able to tell, or you should be able to see who a good leader is. And of course, there are these calls. I've noticed quite a number of calls are bordering on whether or not I am going to contest the elections. As a matter of fact, it is not an I factor, a we factor. What are we saying? And I'm heeding, I'm listening and hoping to heed to the cause of every Zambian that is there, carrying out consultations, as it were. And it's for that reason that you may have seen from my posting that we said we're going to carry out consultations and talk to different people as regards this very mammoth task, this very solemn duty that each one of us has to take seriously. It is not a matter that one just wakes up and says, I should do this. But the cause so far are seeming very irresistible, but it is something that we have to take solemnly. It is something that one has to take dedicated to prayer. And in all this, we know that there's light at the end of the tunnel. And this light, only God makes it available. And we are in that position where there is this call to duty. And to not heed to this call to duty is to disappoint the people of Zambia. Is not to heed to this call to duty, is maybe not being able to listen to the voice of God. And the voice of the people is the voice of God. And at an opportune time, we will definitely make this known. But as I have stated, it is not an I factor, it is a we factor. It is something that we all have to sit and decide. And with the call...
Thank you, Honorable Makebi Zulu. Before my callers become highly impatient, they are calling and calling and calling. I guess I have a lot of questions for you. And I hope that the clarification you've so far given has helped. Callers, I'm going to take the next segment of calls. Please call and make your contribution. And I'm glad that we are all back. Remember, after the earlier disruptions, I feared that we had lost the audience. But looking at the numbers, we are very, very good. Thank you for coming back and thank you for following this broadcast. Let's make your calls and let's hear from you. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Good evening, Emmanuel.
Yeah, good evening.
Just call me Foot Soldier.
Foot Soldier, make your contribution.
Okay, thank you very good. I've got just one or two questions for Honorable Makebi Zulu.
Thank you.
Yes, one. If elected in 2026, what measures is he going to put in place to make sure that there is a sanity in the judicial and the other faculties of the government, which is a disaster as for now? Then the other question, is Makebi Zulu a Christian, or what religious organization does he belong to? Because we don't want, when we elect a president with a questionable religious backgrounds. Then the other question, when elected into office by 2026, next year, what strategies is he going to put in place to make sure that as a country we are united? Thank you very much.
Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Good evening, Ambassador, and good evening, Honorable Makebi Zulu. I know he's listening. The question I have, first and foremost, I want to say thank you very much for giving us the information, especially on the late President Edgar Chagwalungu, our father. We are still waiting and we are still hoping that one day we'll be able to bury him here in Zambia. Like you have said, that it's only just 5 minutes. If President Hakainde Hichilema, he can excuse himself. That would be brilliant. I hope the president, since he's also watching, you'll be able to make a decision by tomorrow so that we bury this issue of our late president who tirelessly worked for this country for 7 years. He deserved to be given dignity burial. Now, my question is that Honorable Makebi will be able maybe to help us. I have seen that many Zambians are being arrested for the issue where the president said that when you defame the president, that issue has been removed, that defamatory remarks of the president, you cannot be arrested, but we have seen people are being arrested. So how can you advise as a constitutional lawyer? Then two, people are calling for you, Honorable Makebi Zulu, that you come and help for this country. I have seen what is happening in the social media. I know you have clarified, but people, they want to hear now. And when I was interacting with some of my friends, they were saying, I hope today we are going to hear what Honorable Makebi Zulu is going to say. So at least maybe you say something again so that Zambians, because they are following, at the moment, they are on 56.6 viewers, meaning you've got a huge following on this platform. I think Mwamba will agree with me. This is, I think, one of the huge following which we have seen. So Zambians are impatient, are waiting, and time is running out. Then two, the last question is that we have a lot of people who have shown interest in PF, and there are 9 those who had paid my 200 pin. How are you going to, if you make a decision, you say that you want to stand, how are you going to manage? Are you going also to pay the 200 pin, or what will happen? I want to hear from you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yes, caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. Hello, caller. I think we're caller Babalala. Maybe he held on for too long. Yeah, quickly make your call so that you... Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Mukambana Anonymous from Kanyama, Lusaka province.
Kambani Anonymous.
Muno Muzambia mulima problems yambiri manyingi. That's why vantu vambiri vambo kambata anonymous uyamba kuyopa vili vonse kukamba kulina limit. Nangukamba vintu vanzeru veve vavitaninga vinkhala vintu vamene vili benzeru. So tisakira leader monga va Makebi vabwere vatitandize, otherwise vasogoleri vamene tili nawo manje apa awo mwanti kulibe vabwino. Everything is going worse.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Good evening, Ambassador. This is Anonymous.
Anonymous, make your contributions.
Yes, I'll go straight to it and I'll be quick. I want to make first a comment and then a question. My comment is Zambia has indeed lost its independence. You see, I think that, the mines that we took over in 1964 have been handed back to foreign control. The racism that we saw in the 1950s have now, they resurfaced in form of tribalism. Before independence, Black people had no right to vote. Today, the UPND government is removing opposition parties such as the Patriotic Front and locking up strong voices that speak out. So I really think that we have lost our independence. Now, let me ask a question. 2 days ago, the Patriotic Front Secretary General Raphael Nakachinda was jailed for an offense based on a repealed law. And the members of parliament, those 9 members of parliament that he once defended, they've remained silent. Even the senior member of parliament who gave him that intelligence that President Hakainde Hichilema was allegedly meeting judges at night, he has also gone quiet. My question is, what is your message, President Makebi Zulu, to members of the Patriotic Front, especially members of parliament, for Nakachinda spoke and yet they are quiet, and for the rest of us who are members of Patriotic Front, who are quiet when we have seen that our Secretary General is behind bars for speaking out to preserve our seats in Parliament. Well, is this cowardice? What's your message to these members of Parliament and to the rest of the members of the Patriotic Front? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. Hello, caller. Oh, seem to have lost this caller. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. Hello. Hello.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Thank you so much. Am I loud and clear, sir?
Yes, you are. Make your contributions.
Thank you so much. Good evening, President Makebi Zulu. You are speaking to Siam calling from Zambia within Lusaka. My contribution this evening, I want to find out from you, the incoming President Makebi, that we have seen how institution of governance have been infiltrated with political hands. How are you going to make sure that this institution becomes independent? Because every politician, especially when they are in opposition, they talk much about independence of these institutions. When I say institution, I'm talking about, number one, the police, judiciary, the registrar of society, and these other parliament, most institution of governance. How are you going to make this institution independent?
Thank you very much. Because thank you.
I believe
Thank you.
These politicians.
Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Good evening, Ambassador Mwamba, and good evening, Honorable Makebi Zulu. This is Lilian Mutambo calling from the UK.
Yes, Lilian Mutambo from the UK. Make your contributions or questions.
Okay. Yeah. So my own is we have seen how the UPND government has targeted all Patriotic Front members. I'm sure Makebi Zulu is aware because he's been their lawyer. My belief is that if he intends to stand as president, then UPND is planning a case on him or anything to ensure that he's blacklisted so that he doesn't stand. How is he going to maneuver with UPND Mingalatos that they've been doing, bearing the fact that PF does not have a political party and they're working with Robert Chawinga? And then secondly, we don't seem to see unity coming from the Patriotic Front, even though they feel they are the majority in terms of having many parliamentarians. But like the previous caller said, we haven't seen much solidarity, even for people who are arrested, just even commoners, even Facebookers or TikTokers who are arrested. It's like people are on their own. And we are seeing them trying to take the lead. In terms of Makebi Zulu's presidency, what assurance can he give to the Zambian people that all the people that have been arrested will be released from jail? As we are aware, we know that Ethel Chisson remains in prison, and nobody from the Patriotic Front or any opposition has ever been to visit her in prison. She's in Chimbwakaila presently. And thirdly, don't you think that the ambition of presidency presently with what is happening in South Africa is a bit too ambitious because of the fact that we have not yet settled the matters in South Africa? I'm saying this because previously We didn't see much of the Patriotic Front members campaigning, but as soon as they heard that Makebi Zulu wanted to be on the ballot, they've all started, going full throttle, and we've even forgotten that the former president, Edgar Chagwa remains unburied. Shouldn't we focus on the impasse, and then Makebi Zulu would be appointed and just support other people that want to stand as presidents? Thank you so much.
Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. Hello, caller.
Good evening, Honorable Mwamba.
Good evening.
Honorable Makebi Zulu. This is Jonas Alfred James Mungo.
Make your contributions quickly.
Like quickly to Honorable Zulu, the Zambians are calling you to pick up a challenge to contest 2016 general elections as president. Are you going to honor the calling of the Zambians, or you are going to put them down? If in case you are going to honor it, what strategy are you going to use as other people are calling in social media, calling you Kamboizi, Kamnyamata, Kashitumbi? How do you respond to those queries from Facebook, from social media?
Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. Make your contributions quickly.
Honorable Makebi Zulu, Mazambianzi, vaitana zina yanu, vafuna muwachiterenda service yanu. So kupempa kwa wapempa Mazambianzi, wapempa uti mbwelu mwachose mwichi mcholimba mane walili. So, answer mene wapempa Mazambianzi. Muzakwanisa kusebenza nao pamozi. I submit.
Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Hello, my name is Pumulos Tumbeko from California.
Queen Pumi, make your contributions.
Yes, thank you, sir. Councillor Makebi, great to see you. And I have just one question, but before I ask, I just want to commend you for the great work you have done to serve the late President Edgar Chagwa Lungu. Tulipama kufitwa totela. There are very few men of your caliber who can withstand everything you have stood there to protect ECEO's legacy and be with the family. You have actually become like a firstborn son of the late Edgar Lungu. May so rest in peace. We thank you, and we hope that may God preserve your life. You have stood the test of time. That's why people are encouraged to even support you and think you are the chosen one, because you have shown us. You have not campaigned to say, choose me, I will do this for you. Your works have spoken to the hearts of all the Zambians. And this is one of the largest shows on EMV platform because of what you are. And leaders are chosen. A true leader from God will be chosen by the people. And the people have chosen you based on what you have done for us as a country and to the family of ECL. You are more than a lawyer. You are like a son to Esther Lungu, who wipes her tears, who wipes Betha's tears and Tasila's tears while they are being persecuted by a whole state machinery. Sorry, I am emotional. But, it's just sad as a country on our 61st independence, instead of celebrating, we are here to just put our heads together and pray and just seek God's guidance. And you are here, you are the center. If that's not a sign from God, I don't know what that is. It's like today is the Independence Day and we are all here saying, Makebi, you are the one. Are you going to stand? We shouldn't be asking you, Actually, we should be telling you because of everything, the stars have aligned. Now, my question to you is, ECZ is a big problem over there. There is no way we can run a free and fair election with the current situation at ECZ combined with this Bill 7 technical committee. So what is your advice to us? And maybe like, for me, I'm just unsettled when I think of the current team at ECZ being the one to take us to this 2026 election. That is my question. Thank you.
Thank you. Queen Pumi, yes. Thank you. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Just call me Didi.
Didi, make your contributions.
Okay. Good evening, MZ8. Everything it's new. Makebi Zulu, stand as a president. People want you. You have a heart. Please, I'm going to say in Bemba, ati ichukwankaba chimwena kumampalanya. Ba Makebi ifo twanpokelela. Bombeni kulinganiswa musungire ba Esther Lungu. Mwadina ba ICO lyomsolo bale baputa wila mageti. Mwadina ba ICO lo bale batukensele. Mwadina ba ICO lo bale bashauta. Ba Makebi benya abantu ba Muzambia. Beni ba president na abamita abantu ba mitemwa. Na tumona ma followers ale mkonka ku Facebook na ku WhatsApp konse. Ba Makebi, you have a heart. Mwana wa kwitu. Mwana wa kwitu. Do good things to the people. Mwana wa kwitu. Mwana wa kwitu. Dobuleni abantu. Balubuleni abantu balila. Bantu ifo tumwene. Ukula constitution. Ukula itoba fepamaka. Uachalande kwa titisaibalo. Uli wonse ngatuma itisaibalo. If it is cyber, when people are commenting on WhatsApp or Facebook, they just say, I don't have a lawyer. I don't have a lawyer. I'm just going to close my mouth. I can't talk. Makebi, you are the one, you are Joshua. You are Joshua. God be with you. Don't fear anyone. God be with you. Thank you.
Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Yes, Ambassador.
Make your contribution. Tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
No, there's no need for me to tell you my name. I thought I was just to say something to Honorable Makebi Zulu. Are you there, Ambassador?
Yes, everyone can hear you. Make your contributions quickly.
But Ambassador, in the folk we push up Makebi Zulu nga ba lawyer. Idio President Hakainde Hichilema committed a crime and was detained. We saw the whole Western world, Patricia Scotland from the Commonwealth came in and trying to protect President Hakainde Hichilema when he was in opposition. Today, we have seen all the critical members of the opposition being detained and incarcerated. We have just seen so very quiet to the Western world. What is it? I need the Honorable Makebi Zulu to explain to the Zambian people, since he's a legal counsel and has been there.
Thank you. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name, where you're calling us from.
I'm calling from Manchester, UK.
Yes, Robam.
Thank you so much for this opportunity to allow me to speak to the Mr. Makebi Zulu. It's quite very emotional, actually, to hear mothers speak like that, like Queen Pumi. There's always say when a mother speaks, and all the mothers that have spoken today, then you know that there's something happening, and what we want is to have a president that can show love and loyalty, and that's not what we're getting. from this, not just the president, but his entire government. You know, when people question that things are not okay, and then the president has the audacity to even say, Mukarakut. You know, so with them, when they talk about Kwenyu, they are talking about their own pockets. But we have a responsibility with all the Zambians. Today, I think everyone can testify that Zambia is not independent. You saw what happened with that church gathering that was stopped when it's been going on for 20 years. But this government, whether it's the police, they stopped it, and so many things that are going wrong in our country. Hakainde HM has put us in what we call a time machine. It's taken us, he's been talking about forward. You guys that keep on pointing this, you praising us forward. And we found ourselves pre-independence. Everything that we fought for, it's gone. And if you do not realize that you have no independence in Zambia, then you really need to go on your knees and pray. Because Zambia needs a second independence, deliverance, and having someone with empathy and love and loyalty that Makebi has done. Like all the people have said, it's something that we need. Someone that will stand for the Zambians. Whether he goes to negotiate for anything for the Zambian, but he puts Zambia first. That is what we want in a second independence. Thank you so much, and all the best, Makebi Zulu, and we are here if you need anything. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. I'm from Manchester. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, good evening, Ambassador Mwamba. This is Don Oscar. I'm calling from Italy.
Yes, Father.
And my greetings to Council Makebi Zulu. I'm very much pleased to have listened to him, and I've heard a lot of callers calling him now to. People are calling names like you are or the Savior, you are David, you are Moses, and things like that. I am proud. What has made me proud this evening is to hear that Makebi Zulu has emphasized he is considering to have a conversation and consultation. And this is not, his decision is not going to be an I, but it's going to be a we program. And that is wonderful. So Makebi Zulu, my request to you is, basing on this we you have underlined. So my request to you is this. Looking at what is happening in our country, umunwe umo tausala inda balanda mchilen, but umunwe umo tausala inda. Looking at what is happening in our country, Makebi Zulu, that humility that you have shown this evening on this platform, cherish that humility. It is a sign of wisdom. Make consultations. Speak to gentlemen who God has called to come out. Vasangwa, Brian Mundubile, KBF, Kasonde Mwenda, Binwa Mpondo, and others. I've just mentioned a few. Please knock on their door. Sit down. Omunwe omo tausalanda. And God is going to choose, is going to enlighten all of you to come out with a person who is going to listen to the cries of the millions and millions of Zambians. So thank you very much, Makebi Zulu. My request is don't haste in making your decision. Please go and consult and sit down. And please then listen. The voice of the people is the voice of God. The people are speaking. The people are calling all of you. Come together. Come together and show the Zambian people that you have an intention to serve them and not to command on the Zambian people, but to serve them. So thank you very much, and go ahead with that humility and wisdom, and God is going to bless you. Thank you very much, Mom.
Thank you very much. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and make your contributions clearly. The phone won't stop ringing.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mwamba.
Yes, thank you. Make your contribution.
Bana Angela, ndetumina ku garden chirolo.
Mkwai.
Mfika mkwai.
Mkwai muleo mfika landeni.
Hello.
We can hear you very clearly.
Awe. Thank you very much, Honorable Emmanuel Mwamba. Ifo tuli kuno maba Makebi Zulu. Bantu butushe wotwa nabufula ba Mwamba. Apa telefo omuntu wakwisa mukutulubula. Bantu natuchula sana. Morning today it is independence nga abantu bare munika watuli bana banshiwa. So if we hope Yesu ili paliba Makebi Zulu. Kese turubula mu 2026 so that tukese kalako bwino. Abafyashi besu bali tufumya mu machushi onse ayo twapitamo. But by this time we are still suffering machushi ayo ni amwene mwamfo ba Mwamba. So if onse ikachene ni mubombele chapamo ba Makebi Zulu nga mwa president ba vice ero mwaisa pange chakosa twamibika mu 2026 mutufumyeko mu nsala twali asana amasoya pieces. Enough is enough. Bakainde mu 2026 bafure bafumyapo ama promises yabo n'abafira complete tetulera mu blackout ubunga ababule abule dula fyonse tapari. So if we hope Yesu muri Makebi Zulu na group yabo alliance, because we know Makebi Zulu next 2026 ekulanda ko kwandi natotera.
Thank you very much. Hello caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. Hello caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Imbira ya mushita bayasukira mwabombe nima mumba weso.
Endita.
Ya mkwai wa Makebi Zulu mpende tata.
Bale myumfwa.
Makebi Zulu ichakubalira po ndetira alatata mwabombeni. Mwabombeni batata ba Makebi Zulu mulando wa kutusebulula ensoni. No kusebulula insoni family ya balungu. Pali chiwa Makebi Zulu na debo kishapona timwabombeni. Pakuimina na pachishinga ba Makebi Zulu twaishokete amaloyers abengi ba Makebi Zulu rupia bafuwa ya pantu balula ichabupe chabo chirya nangu ichabupe chabo nga business lero mukumona kwandi nangula tefyo chiri ngefyo chiri nangu tefyo chiri ndetira ba Makebi Zulu ndechetekero ubuteko bubu ababa baka indechirema wali michitapo na oforupi olwingi sana bakupira tiwenga muna fenba mwenga chita convince ya family ukutira ti uli omubiri mulete kuno ku Zambia no kuisa sebana uli omubiri muno mu Zambia lero pali buchinga tibwenu ba Makebi Zulu na muimini na fyapa kosa mkwai okuchita bwino advise family yo yaba yashiba Edgar Chakwalungu na pali chi tuletira mwabombeni ba Makebi Zulu inshaye sana muri ashirieni ya politics pantu mwachasuka bwino kutira ti mufire mwabimfuira mwamfu abantu fe balala efe balalanda abantu balasumni nokutira ti mwimini nenga bakateka nangula iyo idia eyo tulanda muchibembo kutira ti wisdom chibembe chondiranda ti muchibemba ti ni wisdom.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Hello caller, let me take this one as the last caller. Hello caller.
Hello, good evening, Ambassador Mwamba and Honorable Makebi Zulu.
Good evening.
First of all, let me make mention that Honorable Makebi Zulu, you are a likable individual and you don't have to lose elections 5 times to become president. So already that's a strength. But I must make mention and make it very clear that you are being very slow as opposition leaders and yourself. We need to be steadfast right now, okay? Because towards 2026 general elections, you are lacking political preparedness. So you need to be fast. Okay, all the opposition leaders, you are taking time to make action. You are taking time to make the critical decisions. So please, as much as you are consulting, know that Honorable Makebi Zulu, people want you, and make that decision ASAP. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Good evening, Ambassador, and good evening, Honorable Makebi Zulu. This is Abraham Rooney Kapia calling from the Copper Belt.
Yes, Abraham.
Thank you so much. Honorable Makebi Zulu, I would like to find out, how are you going to help us? You know, we've been crying for a stop from the government to, like, they want to amend the constitution, and we don't want them to do that. But it seems like they are so powerful, they can't listen to us, and you know, whatever we say, it's like nothing to them. So how are you going to help us? Since we don't want them to amend the constitution, we may be saying, no, we'll come and deal with them in 2026. What if they change that constitution and maybe we'll not have that power to even change the government next year? Because if they change this constitution, if they amend it, we're going to have a problem, maybe even when it comes to elections. So I was thinking maybe if you, as a lawyer, as a constitutional lawyer, can help the country to fight this one, because it's dangerous, and our country, where it's going, we don't even really know where we are headed. And secondly, Honorable, we've heard people calling your name to say they want you to lead this country. I think even if you never had those intentions, then I think you need to have them. If you never had intentions to come and contest, then please, sir, this is the right time to contest. And personally here, myself, I'm saying we need you to come and contest. Yes, we have a lot of leaders that are vying for the same position, but please, sir, they're also calling for your name, and please come and contest for the presidency. We will support you. Thank you.
Yeah, I keep on saying the last caller. Okay, now you are the last caller.
Thank you so much, Ambassador. Always a pleasure to call in, and thank you for the platform. I'll remain anonymous.
Yes, anonymous.
It's so sad that it's the first time in Zambia that being anonymous has become a norm, you know. It's unfortunate. I would like to commend Honorable Makebi Zulu for the work that he's done. You know, people may be seeing it from the political lens, but I see it from a lens of being principled and being grounded to what you believe is right. I wouldn't be happy for my relative or my parents' body to be, you know, brought back in the name of dignity, but all because they want to stage it for, you know, laughter and mockery. I wouldn't do that. So there are so many people that have been doing that, and that has just brought, you know, a part of Makebi Zulu that people did not know. Besides the, you know, the brilliant mind of a lawyer that he has, he's just made himself to get known and to be staged, you know, for what he's able to do. Thank you so much. Zambia at 61, there's so much to talk about. Ambassador Mwamba, we keep complaining. We keep talking about, you know, a government that lies to people and makes it a norm. Just the other day, I was seeing a whole Republican president lying about facts that could be verified by even a 7-year-old child, saying when the PF left government, the dollar was at 24 against the kwacha. Who cannot find that information on the internet? And then he says they've stabilized it to 22 when the records were actually, you know, showing that it was towards 23. When PF left government, the dollar was 17. Right now, it's at 22 to 23, and someone is happy lying to the people. All they do is lie, and you can't trust them anymore. The PF and the Tonse Alliance should unite at this point, create a force that will redeem the Zambian people. Some of us are calling from outside and may not really face the problems directly, but in one way or the other. That's why you see a lot of callers coming from overseas and abroad, because they are still connected to the Zambian people, and the problems of the Zambian people are still our problems. Thank you for this platform. Don't undermine it, Ambassador. You're doing great, and God bless you for it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have to end. As you can hear in the background, the calls are still coming in. Queen Pumi says she's so emotional because this is one of the largest on this platform that she has watched. We are on X, we are on YouTube, we are on TikTok. On my page alone, I've had almost 96,000 views as now. If you go to my page, you will find that 95,000 people have viewed. This is one of the largest broadcasts that we've had live. I know the numbers do build up later, but I don't know where the numbers will go if up to 95,000 people viewed this broadcast. And remember, we had that disruption for 1 hour where there was no volume, but people did not go away. Instead, they built up. One of my social media experts had even said, "You are being unfair to Makebi Zulu. Why are you hosting him on Independence on Friday and will be drunk by the time you are broadcasting?" But against all those odds, Makebi pulled the numbers. I think what the Zambians are saying, Makebi, they are giving you flowers. They are recognizing, despite the insults, despite what you've gone through, the Zambians today rallied around you and supported you. And many even called for your leadership for this country. So let me invite Honorable Makebi Zulu to make his last remarks. This broadcast has been a humbling broadcast for me. And thank you, Zambians. Thank you for rewarding, people that are selfless in their ways. And Makebi Zulu has received insults. He has received attacks. But today, you came literally emotionally just to give him that age. So thank you for that. Honorable Makebi Zulu, the number is, as the phones is still ringing, but we have to end the broadcast. Let me invite you to answer some of the questions and give your last remarks.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. I'm very emotional, I must say. It's been a very humbling program, and I'm at a loss for words. I'm really at a loss for words. Safe to say that every Zambian should know that the law is intended to protect them from any form of tyranny, either in leadership or any form of tyranny. The law is intended to protect them. The law is not intended to make leaders untouchable. The law is intended to enable leaders serve the people. And if President Hakainde Hichilema is listening, I'm hoping that he listened to what the people said. It is not a lack of leadership that is there, but a failure of leadership. And it is upon all of us to step up and be the leader that we promise the people to be the leaders that we are called to be. Because the call to leadership is a godly call, it's a divine call. And to abuse that call to leadership is to dishonor the person that puts you in that particular position. I pray that you may introspect your leadership and honor the person that gave you that call to leadership. To the many callers and to the Zambians that are out there, we need to stand up for ourselves. It is not right that we should be considering people that speak the truth, a person who speaks the truth, as being brave. Telling the truth is not an act of bravery. That is how we are supposed to be. That is what we are called to be. And in so doing, we'll be of service to everyone. This call to duty is a call for everyone. I'll say it again, it's a call for everyone. No one is going to come from outside Zambia to save us. We must save ourselves. We should save ourselves. And we have processes that we have put in place to save ourselves. Let's honor those processes. Even if we're going to choose Queen Pumi and say, Queen Pumi, stand, let us all rally behind Queen Pumi, because that leadership is from God. You have called on me to stand, and I'm saying it is not about me, it is about all of us. And in these consultations, like Father Pombe Oscar Mansa has said, it is a matter of consulting and a matter of everyone coming together. What I hear the Zambians say is that everyone in the opposition come together, let us save our country, because no one else is going to save us. So my call is to Dr. Sangwa. My call is to KBF. My call is to Brian Mundubile. My call is to our acting president, Lubinda. My call is to Kasonde Mwenda. My call is to Chishimba Kambwidi. My call is to every leader of the opposition, every leader within the party, every leader outside the party. Can't we do this one thing for Zambia? Can't we come together and unite for Zambia? That is what Edgar Lungu died for. When he was coming back to politics, he said the idea was to unite. When he was part of UKA and part of Tonse, the song that he sang through and through was to unite the opposition for purposes of saving our country. There will be a failure of leadership on the part of the opposition if we do not come together. We need to come together for the sole purpose of saving our country. And duty calls now. This call is not to any one individual. This call is for all of us to come together and deal with the issues that our country is facing. Because only us as Zambians, only we as Zambians can save our country. And like I did say earlier, this is not a we factor. We'll continue to consult. And the very people that I've mentioned here, and others that the clergy, and all those that are informed, are involved in the country, in the running of the country, even you in the diaspora, let's engage in this conversation. Let us make a firm decision and save our country as one. Let us do that, and we will see greater things happen in our country. Your call must be heeded to, and your call will be heeded to. In the meantime, let us concentrate on coming together. Then we shall emerge as one, and this leadership will be a leadership of oneness, for that is what we are, and that is what Zambia is. Thank you very much for hosting me, Ambassador Mwamba. Thank you for this opportunity. This has been a very humbling experience, and I'm grateful for this opportunity. The Lungu family is grateful for this opportunity to also speak to the people and let them know exactly what is happening. You have not been neglected as Zambians. You have not been denied an opportunity to bury President Edgar Chagwa Lungu. That will be done, and you will bury President Edgar Chagwa Lungu with the dignity and honor that he deserves. I'm grateful for this opportunity once more. Thank you, Ambassador.
Sorry, Honorable Makebi Zulu, I didn't realize I'd muted myself. But there's a question of faith. Before I let you go, there's a question of faith. Would you like to answer that question?
Yes, I would love to answer that question, because I'm not ashamed who I am. I'm a Christian, I'm born again, I fear the Lord, and I serve the Lord. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. To our dear viewers, thank you for your patience and thank you for staying there very late to watch this broadcast. And we are humbled by the huge numbers that have turned up to the broadcast, almost going to 100,000 views just this evening. God bless you. And until we have another broadcast, I think on Monday, happy independence, and reflect on our country. Our country can be better.
So we urge our citizens that they remain calm. We can see light at the end of the tunnel, and that tunnel is now becoming shorter by the day. As we speak, we now have unprecedented rains in the last maybe 2 decades. And with those rains, yesterday Cabinet was informed that load shedding is likely to begin to diminish by June 2025. This is because the major water catchment areas of northwestern province into the Barotse, plains, and now also the Kafue, flood plains. Water takes 3 months journey to move from Kaleni Hills, from Chavuma,
to kill PF. And the same people should be presiding over his 10th memorial. The same people should be putting his ghost to rest forever, and we are watching. We can't accept that. That's why people are saying, what's going on in Zambia? What's going on? Because I don't want to say people were happy and excited when Mr. Sata passed on, because that's a fact. You can check it out for yourself. I don't want to say from day one, after Mr. Sata died, people began trying to destroy his memory by destroying PF.
Just to put it very in clear context, you are saying when Mr. Sata died, some people celebrated.
Yes.
They even began to campaign immediately.
Yes.
Yes. They saw it as an opportunity to get to office.
Yes. So that is a fact. And now, the same people went further when they got power in 2021 to destroy his party. And tomorrow they want to attend the memorial to make sure that even his party dies with him forever. We can't allow that. So for me, I'm waiting between now and tomorrow morning to see what happens. How can you allow somebody who has murdered your son or your daughter and you are still mourning to come and attend the funeral and be made to speak at the funeral?
But how good your son
was. And you know about it, you say, wait a minute, what's happening? And I think I can just say the whole thing, I summed it up when I spoke to one guy. I said, because how can you, Ambassador, a Catholic, be remembered in a Jehovah's Witness hall?
Yeah.
In the 10th anniversary, or how do you get
to be dishonored?
How do you get remembered in a SDA church when everyone knows that you're Catholic and so on? And the state insists. And the worst part is that I have learned that the Secretary to Cabinet is Catholic.
Yes, he is.
And so he's the deputy, Oliver Karabo. They're Catholic, and they should have told government to say, look, how these things are done. Especially Patrick Angwa, who is a practicing Catholic church member, and I've seen him in church even giving mass, Holy Communion and so on. He should have said, wait a minute, we want to participate in this program. That's good. So let us engage the church to it, the late president.
Today we stand at a crossroads. not just of politics, but of conscience. The passing of our humble president, Mr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu, is not only a moment of mourning, it is a moment of reckoning. Let this be a message to every future politician of Zambia. Power is not a crown. It is a responsibility. You are not above the people, you are born of them. You are raised by their trust, and you are judged by how you honor it. What we witnessed during President Lungu's health challenges must never happen again. No family should be dragged through courtrooms while grieving. No widow should plead for dignity. No orphan should wait for justice to bury their father. This is not the Zambia we were meant to be. Let us start over. Let us rebuild, not just our institutions, but our hearts. Let the death of President Lungu remind us that we are each other's keeper. That love is not weakness, it is our greatest strength. That the Bible commands us to care for the widow, the orphan, and the stranger. And that true leadership begins with compassion. We only have one Zambia. Let us raise her high, not with slogans, but with service. Let us show love, not just in words, but in action. Let us unite, not just in grief, but in purpose. To the Lungu family, we are with you. To every citizen, your pain matters. To every leader, your legacy begins now. One Zambia, one nation, one heart.
Amitapendwa ya vintu ifisume vyote kula kuibukisha Tanate potimo Wimbo wa temenu wa katongi Awazunga wajita katongi na kula kuibukisha kateka Kaibuku muna kapona Neseko siove pamenso Yangu ama umebaya Iyaba maume Iyaba maume Kateka wabantu Twakulila, lelo twakulila Shika kukonke milimo shove Ale filamba Fiena minta pengo sile Eti kume mo kulondolo la vale Lilo wingi
Iseko wingi mwakwete Iseso wingi mwakwete Mwaya mwende wingi
tifuemo Vingi tuwala baba dinochiwe Nangu tulalaba Uti tuwala baba Nangu tulalaba Mama Nangu tulalaba Nangu tulalaba Ukula bebyo watu dobuingi Ibisebo wapagiri obuingi Ukuchinjo lusako kumoneko busaka Mama Utituwa na basiani Chagwa katuse